What is it you get if you add together high fuel economy, a smooth and quiet ride, standard all-wheel drive, and a luxury level interior? Well, you get exactly what we have right here. The 2021 version of the Toyota Venza, something that we haven't seen since 2015 until late in the 2020 year, coming out as a 2021 model. It hasn't been around for a while, but it's definitely made some progress over those years that we didn't see the Venza available in the Toyota lineup. Like I said, standard all-wheel drive. And while there are multiple trim levels available, I will list those right over here on the screen and their base prices. This was the only one available. I know a lot of you are asking me on a regular basis to review lower trim levels. Well, this is the limited trim level we're going to take a look at today. But like I said, it was the only one available. But let's take a look and see exactly what you get if this is something you want to purchase. And by the way, I did borrow this model from my friends at Toyota here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And if you look carefully on the screen, because people will often ask me, what is the price? I don't think they actually watch the video, but I'm showing you the price off of the dealership's website as far as what you would pay at the Toyota dealership for this particular model. What exactly do you get? Well, let's start talking about safety first. Of course, you're going to have Toyota Safety Sense, and I will list a partial list right over here on the screen to my right and your left to give you an idea of some of the highlights. If you want to see the full list of safety features available on this Venza, check out the link down in the description of the video to the Toyota website. Here you're going to find, like I said, a completely redesigned Venza for 2021. I think it's a big improvement over the previous generation, which, by the way, this is the second generation of the Venza. It comes with LED projector beam headlights, 19-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels, and one of the main things that I know people are going to talk about, and we're going to try to do this justice in the test drive, and I know on a video, well, it's a little bit hard to really prove it, but is it making enough horsepower? Let's take a look at exactly what the combination is under the hood and try and figure that out. All trim levels of the Venza not only come standard with all-wheel drive, but also with a hybrid powertrain. So that means you have a 2.5-liter four-cylinder, and of course that electric motor that helps to give really high gas mileage. Exactly what is that? 40 miles per gallon city, 37 out on the highway, and 39 combined. Horsepower combined between what we have here motivating this model to get down the road. Like I said, this might turn a lot of people off, but think about this for a second. It's 219 horsepower. But here's the thing. How much horsepower does the average person actually need to get down the road? I don't think anybody is going to pick up a Venza and say, I'm disappointed that when I drop the pedal to the floor, it doesn't plant me back in the seat. I already drove this here to our filming location from the dealership, and it's more than enough horsepower to get down the road with no problem, at least based on my experiences. And I realize there are a multitude of driving conditions that one can encounter, but at least here on the flat land of Louisiana, we're not on mountain roads going up steep hills or anything like that. But even if we were, I still don't think it would be a problem because number one, it's all-wheel drive. It's perfect for snow and ice, and just the way this model is set up, it gets down the road seemingly with no real problems. But like I said, for those who might say it's underpowered, well, you might want to try driving one and also consider the fact, what exactly would you consider to be enough horsepower? In fact, I'm curious to know for those of you who might say that, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time, guys, by any means in saying that, but here's my question for you. What is the amount of horsepower that you believe is the minimum for being enough? And a very common question that I receive, so I like to cover it here in the video. When I open the interior, of course, you'll see that the power folding side view mirrors will open up, unfold, and yes, there is a turn signal indicator built into the side view mirrors. It is amazing how often I get the question about the side view mirrors having that turn signal indicator built in if I don't talk about it in the video. So there, I talked about it. And with the complete redesign of the Venza for 2021 comes a more sporty look. And in this particular case, there is usability. You not just have the roof rails up there, but you also have kind of a luggage rack type setup. You've got the two rails up here where you could haul, well, whatever you want to up there that will fit and tie down. Dual exhaust back here, a nice finish on the rear bumper, and those are not exhaust finishers. That is a complete system. There's not a gap between what you see right here and the rear of the muffler like you might see on some other vehicles that cost a lot more than the Venza does, and a rear roof spoiler to not only give a more sporty look, but that helps to channel air as you're driving down the road over this rear window to help keep that clean. But when it does get dirty, of course, you do have a rear window wiper and a hands-free lift gate right here. Let's see if we can get that to work. There we go. You notice something there, guys? That took about a second or so. Once I waved my foot underneath the bumper. I don't do this every single day, so I probably would be better at it if I did. But if you ever try to use the hands-free function back here and it doesn't open just like that, don't immediately try again, because you'll reverse the process, just so you know. And you do have a cargo cover, a rear cargo cover that is removable back here. If you wish to use that, you can lower the rear seats to maximize your cargo space. And another common question I get, kind of like those turn signal indicators in the mirrors: does the vehicle have a spare tire or a tire repair kit? Thumbs up on this one for sure, guys. You have a spare tire located right here underneath the floor. And of course, you have two options for closing this rear lift gate. You can push the button on the left to just close the gate, the lift gate I should say, or the button on the right, you can push that. It will not only close this rear door, but also lock the interior at the same time. Okay guys, I don't know how well you can see from the angle where I have the camera, but well, at 5'10", if I was maybe 6 feet tall, I might be a little cramped back here, but it's not too bad at 5'10", sitting straight up. Seats are fairly far back here for the front seats, and so I still have a decent amount of leg space here, not really terribly cramped, at least not in my personal opinion. Dual air conditioning vents and dual USB ports underneath those, and you do have a fold-down armrest with, of course, the two drink holders built in, which you would expect to find. Okay guys, push button start here as I fire the engine up. Is that the right way to say it? I don't know, but that's what I'm going to stick with for the moment. But as you can see here in the interior, you've got a nice looking instrument cluster, your typical controls here on the steering wheel as far as your steering wheel mounted controls. And something else that every trim level of the Venza comes with, it's over here on the left hand side of the steering wheel. It's called the turn signal stalk. You use that when you're driving down the road. If you're turning to the right or changing lanes to the right, you push it into the up position. You hear that sound? That means your blinker's on. And you push it into the down position in case you're doing the same thing to the left. It's actually called being courteous to the drivers around you. Maybe I should insert a record scratch right there. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Yes, that is one of my pet peeves, by the way. And you also control the headlight functionality on the turn signal stalk as well. On the right-hand side, something I can't be sarcastic about, it's the controls for the front and rear window wipers, running the windshield washer fluid, all that kind of stuff, and I'll show you an additional way that works when we get to the center screen here shortly. Dual zone climate control that you can sync together here in the front, wireless charging, multiple driving modes, which obviously includes an EV mode. If you want to go ahead and go into that, you can push that, and you can keep up with that on the instrument cluster here, also here on the center screen, just to keep up with the percentage of charge, which obviously what happens if you're not familiar with how this kind of a system works with a hybrid powertrain. When the electric motor gets down to a certain capacity, the gas engine's going to kick on and charge it back up, and then it'll go back off and go back to hybrid when it gets to the proper capacity. And like I said, multiple driving modes. I'll show you that on the screen so you can see that, give you a good look at the shifter here. And when you pull the shifter back, you can move that shifter over to the left, and you don't have shifter paddles on the steering wheel, but you can manually, well, somewhat, I don't know if you'd really call it manually, but kind of have the mimicking of changing gears. This is a 1-speed CVT transmission, by the way. If you didn't notice when I put that on the screen earlier, I didn't actually say that when we were looking at everything earlier. Now, you do have not only a rear view camera, something you're going to get on all vehicles, no matter what the trim level nowadays here in the United States. That was actually to be mandated by 2020, but all car makers were way ahead of that in case you didn't know. But you not only have a couple of different views for that rear view camera, you have the bird's eye view, which I really like, showing you that on the screen right now. You also have a front view camera. Now, one thing that I found kind of interesting here, you don't have a front camera washer. If you watch me regularly, I always show when a vehicle has that. That's typically the Ford F-150s and all the different Ford models that have that feature. But you do have a rear camera washer, so you can hit that, clean it off, and the bird's eye view camera as well. Okay guys, we're going to take a little bit of a different test drive route than we normally do, and you can hear that CVT going to work. But I have to say, I drive this road every day, and I know this doesn't necessarily mean much to other people because you don't likely live in the area where I do and drive this road every day, but I'm telling you what, this is a washboard road, big time. Typical Louisiana road. Let me move over into the right-hand lane because the right-hand lane is always more rough than the left, just because there's typically more traffic over here. But I hope that you can get an idea of at least the fact that the interior is pretty quiet, even though you can hear some of the road noise and all that kind of stuff. Compared to what I normally deal with, because I drive this road pretty much on a daily basis, well, this is much improved from what I'm at least used to in my own daily driver. And being that the speed limit is 65 in this area, you're moving down the road at a pretty good clip. But the main thing here, while you do get some road noise, is the fact that the ride quality is ultra smooth. And I know the camera doesn't do that justice, it just is what it is. But that's the way it is, and that's really the main thing I wanted to focus on here. The Venza is very enjoyable to drive. Obviously a lot of high-tech driver aids, great features there that are going to come with this model. And just overall, not only is the ride quality comfortable, but the seats themselves, the materials are comfortable as well. I've talked about this in previous videos. You can have a vehicle that rides well, but the seats themselves are not very comfortable, or it can be the other way. The seats are very comfortable, but the ride quality itself is not all that great. You have a really good balance here of the two, so the Venza is really a winner in those areas. So hopefully that kind of helps out a little bit as far as the features go on a test drive. We're getting onto some smoother pavement here, but I hope that helps you out to understand as best as it's possible for me to describe that in a test drive on video. You know, if you are planning to buy something like this, definitely go to your local Toyota dealership and drive it for yourself. Definitely the best way to go, but try to do the best I can in our test drive video. To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any other vehicle you are interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.